Hello and welcome to Checkpoint of View, the formerly known as the Sidescape Gaming Podcast. We are now under the banner of Checkpoint of View because, for a very specific reason, we could not beat the algorithm. We were beaten by jijitsu tutorial videos of how to side escape, and unfortunately, we could not overpower those side escapes. So now we had to pivot, just like you do in jiu-jitsu. It's all about pivoting. And now we have pivoted hard.
Yeah, we have escaped out the side as well.
We have escaped out the side. After 160th episodes, it's dead. It's done. We're here. We're a little different. We're at Checkpoint of View. I wish we all had beards and like Ted was clean shaven. Then we could all be very different.
That'd be wild.
That'd be wild.
That'd be very
if
wild.
James just had a beard down to like his chest. It'd be incredible.
We'll add that in post.
That'll be in post. Yeah, we're editing the show a little more.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
My name is Jake Burke. This is Ted Libby. This is James St. Charles. We're your three hosts. On the show now, we will bring a topic of kind of either if it's current events, news of video game, pop culture, movies, comic books, whatever. We'll each bring a topic kind of that we want to talk about this week. So maybe a game we're playing, a movie we've seen, or like this week, we're going to be talking about kind of some weird variety things. Like Ted will be talking about EVO fighting competition this week. I will be kind of going through the Marvel news that came out of Comic-Con for the MCU with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. I want to hear your guys' thoughts about it. And then I want to take you on a wild ride of what I think it all means, because I have an obsession with this shit. And then James is going to talk about Unicorn Overlord, a game that he's been playing and is almost done with. So that's kind of the arc of the show, if you please. Ted.
We're still talking about video games, though.
Mostly.
Okay. We're mostly a video game podcast.
Mostly.
That's our little tagline. Yeah. Speaking of video games,
spin me a yarn.
EVO, Evolution, the Evolution fighting game tournament.
Is that what it stands for?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a
electronic
video.
Yeah. Orchestra.
No. Yeah. EVO, I believe, stands for Evolution. So Evolution fighting game tournament.
Interesting.
2024 happened, I guess, almost 2 weeks ago now, give or take, depending on when you watch this. Maybe years ago, depending on when you watch this.
If you're watching this in 2027, it was 3 years ago.
It was 3 years ago, yeah.
And tell us how Secret Wars is, because we're going to talk about that later. Maybe I'm right on a bunch of stuff. Sorry, Ted.
That'd be wild. That would be wild. Starting this new show off with a prediction. I like it. So yeah, EVO 2024 happened successfully. We're done with the pandemic. People are allowed to be in the arenas. The energy was good, and it was overall a pretty fun time. I watched most of it. Jake, did you watch any of it? You didn't watch any of it.
No. But I have a question. I want
to. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question so I can set this up for people that don't know what EVO is.
Sure.
This is a fighting game competition of a variety of fighting games. So is it always the most current of fighting games, or do they play Street Fighter 2 as well?
So EVO Evolution is the largest open fighting game tournament. We'll call it in the world. It is known for being worldwide. You could compete. So that is kind of the draw. Is it gets hundreds of thousands of attendance every year, both because it is a worldwide event and also because anybody is technically allowed to enter. You might get kicked out Saturday morning right at the beginning, but you technically are allowed to enter, which is very cool. Street Fighter was there, Tekken was there, Mortal Kombat, things you know.
Yes. Next question. Sorry, just because I've never really thought about EVO. Do you only play the same game in the tournament, or like do they like the Olympics medley? Are they like round 1 is Street Fighter 2, round 2 is Smash Bros Melee, round 3 is Mortal Kombat 1?
So the tournaments are like if you are you enter into like the Mortal Kombat tournament,
they can have fun with
and then you are playing Mortal Kombat, the Mortal Kombat that they decide, but you are allowed to enter into multiple.
Sure. Okay.
So you will see multiple entrants. And it takes place over 3 days. You know, it's like Friday night's introduction ceremonies, and then Saturday you'll have the big things start to brew. So like if anybody can play Saturday morning and just fight your way to the top. Saturday night or Saturday afternoon night, we have like the Mortal Kombat 1 tournament, which was a lot of fun. There's this guy named Sonic Fox who wins all Mortal Kombat things all the time. He's
so good.
He's that good. He's completely dialed in to that style of movement and those combos. Except he recently got dethroned. He recently did not. I think it was last year, 2023. Wow. He did not win an EVO, and he has like missed winning on certain tournaments recently. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is the end."
He's lost his step.
He's lost his edge.
His thumbs are too slow.
He's getting too old. He retook his throne at EVO 2024.
Is he playing with the same character every round?
I believe he mixes it up.
Yeah, he plays a couple.
There's a whole meta game of mixing up your characters to throw off your opponent.
Sure.
Same thing with like being on the left side or the right side. Being player 1 or player 2 makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So he won, which is very exciting. A lot of fun to watch. Good energy with the crowd. Jake, you'll appreciate this. He played a lot of games as the DLC character Homelander from the hit TV show The Boys.
Wow.
And for those who don't know, when you win as Homelander, one of the victory animations is Homelander drinking milk, which is a inside joke from the show. It's a very disgusting scene where he's just kind of like getting really sloppy with a glass of milk.
Yep.
But the tournament people cut the cutscene because like we have to keep going to the next set. And so Sonic Fox stood up, turned to the crowd, and then just like drizzled his like energy drink all over himself for the crowd, and it was absolutely hilarious. He did a great job of kind of keeping the energy going.
Good.
So that was a lot of fun. Street Fighter 3,
from long ago.
Third Strike is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year.
And I want to not be confused that Mortal Kombat 1 is not the first Mortal Kombat game, but the most recent Mortal Kombat game. I think that needs to be said.
I believe it is like the 18th, 16th Mortal Kombat game. Yes. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Mortal Kombat 1 is the most recent, Mortal Kombat.
It's definitely not to be confused with Street Fighter 3, which came out 20 years ago.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So Street Fighter 3 Third Strike came out 25 years ago today. Popularized EVO in a lot of different ways. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can look up watch a video compilation of like greatest EVO moments of all time, and you're going to see a lot of very old camcorder footage of people in front of analog tube TVs, really hyping up the crowd because this game
kind of made... Is this the Chun-Li block?
Yes, this is the epic parry.
Yep.
Yes, so they had their 25th anniversary, so Capcom allowed them, I roll my eyes there, allowed them to have a tournament for Street Fighter 3. So that was all on Saturday. That was a lot of fun. Sunday is when we get to like the big ticket games. These are like what's currently for sale. Like this is what fighting game companies want kind of the people to play. So you're going to get a lot of Arc System Works, Guilty Gear, also famous for making Dragon Ball Fighter Z, a video game that anyone who loves Dragon Ball should play that game. Tekken 8, which I have never played Tekken. James, do you want to... Yes, go ahead.
Most recent Tekken is Tekken 8?
I haven't played Tekken 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played Tekken 8 either.
Yeah. Tekken 8, it's this year's video game. It came out in February of 2024.
Wow.
Mixed reviews. A lot of people are kind of unhappy with a lot of their monetization and pricing stuff. But at the end of the day, Tekken is a franchise that's been around for close to 30 years, if not 30 years, and has slowly brewed kind of this like deep love. Wildly exciting tournament, very good energy. A guy named Arslan Ash wins the whole thing.
Okay.
Which is very cool. So this guy, he wins this year's EVO. He has also won EVO Japan, which is again a big deal because Japanese love their fighting games. He's from Pakistan, and in Pakistan, there is no official console support. Sony doesn't operate. Microsoft doesn't operate. Legally, you are not allowed to buy a console in Pakistan. Pakistan is, you might call it an up-and-coming country, but it is still very much a third world country in a lot of ways. One of those ways is their currency doesn't translate to a first world country currency, and so your average, PlayStation video game might cost an absurd amount of money, more money than rent. It's one of those situations. I was reading a story that a lot of Pakistani natives who are Muslim will go on their pilgrimage to Mecca. And as part of going to Mecca, you're supposed to buy gifts for your family. And so they will buy a PS3 or like old consoles, and they will bring it back for the kids. So this guy, Arslan Ash, and his people around him have developed like an old school video arcade type system where like, if you go to Pakistan, you're going to find you can go to a unair conditioned room with PlayStations just kind of like shoved into corners and play. And you have to like wait for other people to come up to you and offer to challenge you to play. It's very old school.
Wow.
And this this system that in Pakistan has developed some of the best Tekken players of all time. They wipe the floor with everybody else.
Wow.
Nobody else can compete with them and their style. And they have a completely unique style. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, the person who won, the person who came in second was also from Pakistan.
Oh
So
wow!
the
Okay,
top
yeah.
two
So
players
it's,
in
yeah,
the
okay.
entire tournament with Tekken 8 had like the most entrants like ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just so
I think
many
it was
entrants.
10,000 entrants, 10,080 or something like that. And then finally, to roll out the night, we have Capcom Street Fighter 6, their newest Street Fighter. They always go last because they're the biggest and best, and we should all love them. And I thought it was James. You said you tuned in for this part, right? Like,
Right.
I thought it was a little bit boring, and I think that's because after an entire weekend of being in Vegas, Sunday nights kind of you're running low on energy.
Yeah, you're
I don't
tired.
know.
Yes, definitely.
I don't know how you felt, but there was a lot of
it's too
crowd
many
energy
games.
throughout the weekend, and this
Yeah.
was not there, which that was a little bit disappointing.
Well, also,
Literally,
I think the finals between the two people, it's like
Mhm.
these guys are always at the finals. Like it's always these two guys at the top.
Yeah.
And the matchup was not really too fun.
Yeah.
Same with the Tekken finals. You know, it wasn't too fun, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was still good.
Yeah, so a guy named Punk, who I believe now is 22 or something. He first went to EVO when he was 16, and he has always come close to winning, but he never has won. He has consistently not won, and he has admitted it's been a real pain in the butt.
Yeah.
He's been really over it. He finally won, and it was kind of this big emotional moment for him. He finally beat everybody else and became, for all intents and purposes, the world champion of Street Fighter.
Nice.
And so that was very cool to see this guy who, I don't know, I remember watching him in 2017 when they were like, this 16-year-old came out of nowhere. Can he do it? No.
No.
Did you see
Turns
the
out no.
clips? Yeah, he was young. He's always young, and everyone always like clowned on him.
He
But
was-
Did you see the clips when he was walking outside of the stadium?
Oh,
And
I did
people
not.
People were just clapping for him.
Oh.
Like he
Yeah.
was just walking out. Everyone was just lighting up like on the side as he was walking through, clapping.
He was so young when his first EVO, he was so young he needed an adult to be there, like to sign for him because he was not over 18. So his mom had to be there in the audience, and she was like cheering him on. That's how young he was.
That's
But
crazy.
he finally won his first EVO, so that was a very cool thing to see. Again, at that point, the energy is falling out. So like they literally were like, and he won. Here's his award. Go home.
That's it. Yeah.
And then the stream cuts, and you're like, all right. Overall, I think a very fun EVO this year. Very exciting. And it's good to see fighting games still kicking now.
Still kicking
I think
those
it's-
fighting
it's-
games.
In a
they always
world-
host it every year in Mandalay Bay, and I think Vegas is like a perfect setting for it. They need more video game tournaments in Vegas because it's fun.
James just wants to go to Vegas.
Just wants more
No, I mean,
excuses
it's
to
a
go
good
to
excuse
Vegas.
to go to Vegas.
It's got
I
to
mean,
play
I
some
wouldn't say
sports
Mandalay Bay,
bets.
but-
All right. Well, that was Evo. You did it, Ted.
I did it.
You did it. We're proud of you. Thank you for teaching us all about Sonic.
I
Fox.
didn't do anything. I didn't play a single fighting game.
Okay.
during
Okay.
this weekend.
Okay. Idea
That's a
for this
lie.
podcast.
Yeah.
Next year we should all go to Evo,
Oh my god.
I would love to go to EVO.
and I would enter into Evo because
wanna
you know
enter?
me. I'll fucking enter.
They don't do Smash though.
I don't care. I'll train in Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
You can find yourself a Smash tournament. You talk to enough people and
No,
get into
I
a
know.
hotel
I'm
room. You'll play some Smash.
I'll compete. I would
think
love
But
to
I will
compete.
say,
Evo used to do Smash. I don't know if they do. Well, actually, do they do?
I don't think so. I think
Ultimate?
Nintendo took it away.
They
I
used to do
believe
Melee.
Nintendo
Something
has
Melee.
taken it. Somebody has taken it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
God damn it.
That's all right.
But I will say one of the things that they were showing, because this is obviously a time for a lot of companies and sponsors to display their stuff. Apparently, Red Bull, the energy drink, was in everything. Like you couldn't get away from drinking a Red Bull, which was very funny.
Love it.
Yeah, the League of Legends fighting game was there, or whatever. But also,
No.
Marvel versus Capcom collection was shown
Yeah.
in detail. So Jake, next year we can go to EVO and you can
Play-
enter into the Marvel versus Capcom 2
I'm in.
contest.
I'm in. Can we all play? Can we all enter and we each play a character
Yeah.
and we tap each other out? Same
No. Can't do
controller.
that.
Damn, that'd be
They
so
have
cool.
rules. They
How
have
cool would
rules.
that be? Speaking of Marvel, I'm gonna take it over. I'm taking it over, Ted. Big news came out of Comic-Con this weekend. The internet's ablaze debating if this is a cash grab or interesting or poopy. So before we dive deep, before I take you all on a ride, the big news was that Robert Downey Jr. was announced to come back to the MCU along with the Russo brothers, who directed in Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. They announced that Robert Downey Jr. will be coming back to play Victor Von Doom in 2 new Avengers movies directed by the Russo brothers, Doomsday, which comes out in 2026, and Secret Wars, which comes out in 2027. I want to know what you guys just kind of think about this news. Mm-hmm. And then I want to talk about it a little bit and kind of talk about where I think it's all going. But I'm curious, like, what was your gut reaction? It was like, Robert Downey Jr. is back to the MCU. He will be playing a new character. Victor Von Doom, we'll talk more about that because I think that has an asterisk. So I'm curious, like, Ted or James, who would like to start? Like, what is your guys' gut reaction to Robert Downey Jr. after, not being in the MCU for a little bit, coming back?
I am stuck on the fence on this one. Mm-hmm. I can tell you when first hearing about it, and then I went and watched kind of that reveal moment. I was not overjoyed.
Okay.
It very much felt weird, I guess I would say. It feels, and also like in a world where there are hundreds of fantastic actors, like, why do you need to recast him? If the answer to that is not, well, everybody already loves RDJ.
Sure.
Like Robert Downey Jr. is established and beloved within the nerds of this franchise. Why not bring him back? I have some conspiracy theory thoughts as well that I'll hold off on. But overall, I'm kind of just like, I mean, he is a fantastic actor, and he's also somebody who they could say to him, do something totally different, and he could take that and really run with it and to be successful. I don't mean to discount Robert Downey Jr.'s acting ability at all, but I am very concerned that Disney or the MCU will just take this as easy money, and we'll see how that goes.
My thoughts on this is I think it's fine that he comes back. The issue that I see is that he's coming back for a lot of money, like a lot of money from what I heard.
It sounds like it's over $100 million for these 2 movies.
Which you're paying for RDJ at that point, and is this a case where it's like he had to come back because the Russo brothers are coming back, or did the Russo brothers like need RDJ to come back? Why couldn't they cast someone else? I don't know. Like I mean, people probably want to see this now more because RDJ's in it. And then you also have to like figure out like what's this character gonna really be? Are we thinking like Fantastic Four that we've seen? That kind of Doom, Doctor Doom, which kind of is in line with past Iron Man. So I don't know how he's gonna play this character. It seemed like when he was like on stage when they revealed it, very grandiose.
My last thing I will say is, and Jake, I think you might touch on this in your spiel. I don't want to see Robert Downey Jr.'s face.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
At all.
No face at all.
If I get him specifically as a Doctor Doom, which Jake, I'll let you explain more of the character. Yep. I don't want to see his face at all. I want him to be completely behind a mask. I'm thinking very much.
They're not paying him $100 million to be behind a mask.
Yeah,
so I want a Tom Hardy's Bane or a Carl Urban's Judge Dredd, where we know who that is. We don't need to see him take off the helmet. And I'm very worried that because they had this epic reveal of like, it's Robert Downey Jr., everyone, like you just said, they don't pay him that much money to not show his face.
To do voice work.
And that, I think, bothers me. Jake, take it away.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my TED Talk. Don't listen to this TED Talk. Listen to this TED Talk. So I'm actually really excited about this news. I think it's really interesting in an interesting way. I have a prop. We're all leading to this, okay? We're all leading to Secret Wars, okay? I'm going to potentially spoil some things that could happen in the MCU that we've not seen yet. So if we're all like weird about that, I'm sorry. I did successfully guess that there would be a time jump in Endgame, so I've nailed some stuff before. But I am going to spoil that, and I'm going to spoil 2 kind of plot points from Deadpool and the Wolverine, but they are not story points. They're just like things now that the MCU has established after Deadpool and the Wolverine. So it won't spoil anything that actually happens really within the movie. But that's kind of where it's at. So Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, I think is really interesting and very cool because he will be playing, in my opinion, a Tony Stark variant from a different world. So the reason that he looks like Tony Stark is because he is a variant from a different multiverse.
Yeah.
And that is why he's got the same face.
Can I briefly want to chime in?
Yeah.
I heard this theory as well. Some kind of thing of like, oh, well, his grandfather who immigrated to the United States never did. And so now this super smart genius family has been in
Latvia?
Liechtenstein?
No,
Latvia?
Latvia, I think. Latveria?
It's very close to, Latveria.
Latveria, yeah. I'm sorry,
Eastern,
I don't know all the
Eastern
Doom terms.
bloc. Yeah, Eastern bloc country. My immediate reaction to that is complete eye roll.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Kev,
Go ahead.
Okay.
Talk
So,
variants to me.
I don't know, and I apologize. I don't know the specifics of what makes Victor Von Doom 100% Victor Von Doom. So I'm not beheld to like, I want to see Victor Von Doom, you know? I'm cool that he is the multiversal bad guy because it's not Kang anymore because that actor's in a lot of problems. And Kang was in one movie and it sucked so bad they were so happy to get rid of that plot point in Loki 2. They did.
So yes. No. Jonathan Majors has been found guilty of assault against
Domestic
his
abuse.
partner, domestic abuse.
Yeah, domestic abuse and assault.
He has been cut. He was Kang. I do want to say before we put Kang to bed that I absolutely, truly loved the concept of Kang. Right? It's basically Rick Sanchez guy discovers the multiverse first and talks to himself infinitely.
Yeah.
And can plot with himself infinitely to scheme. And I thought that was so cool.
Super cool.
And then they missed the mark.
Yep, they made a very bad Ant-Man movie.
On camera and off.
And off camera. And then we're pretty decently wrapped it all up in Loki season 2 and was like, and it's all done. We've prevented it all. One of the best lines of Deadpool is when he sees Elias from Loki and he's like, oh my God, Elias in this from Loki? Season 1, episode 5? That's so funny. In Deadpool and the Wolverine, good little jumping off point, they established two kind of things about the Marvel multiverse that we didn't know before that are going to be very important. One of the things that they've established is that there's these things called anchor beings, and that when your anchor being in your universe dies, your universe starts to slowly decay. That is how it happens. Now, it's interesting because we're in a sacred timeline, is like where our MCU 616 is called the sacred timeline. That's the one that the TVA kind of pruned to make sure that the Avengers could successfully go back in time and do everything. So that's the sacred timeline. But in Deadpool and the Wolverine, we learned that they need an anchor being because their anchor being in Deadpool's timeline has died. He replaces that anchor being. I'm not going to spoil. Does it matter if I spoil who it is? Probably not.
I honestly don't remember.
Okay, it's Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Okay.
Wolverine's the anchor being. And so he replaces Wolverine. So by the end of Deadpool and the Wolverine, sorry for the big spoiler, I guess, but Wolverine and Deadpool are established that they're in an X-Men universe that is no longer dying. So there is a complete X-Men universe that has Hugh Jackman's Wolverine back involved, that is stagnant in the MCU, that is not dying anymore. Secret Wars is about Doctor Doom taking all of the multiverses, crushing them into one, and making one timeline so he can rule one timeline. That's what Secret Wars is.
That's awesome.
So what we're leading to is that we're leading to a big bad guy, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark probably variant of Doctor Doom, that is now fighting all of your multiverse Avengers heroes like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. You're getting that Avengers movie. So that's what Secret Wars is going to be. It's going to be Hugh Jackman, Tobey Maguire, everyone you've ever wanted to see together. They're there.
Everyone?
At this point, probably. Sony's definitely on board with this at this point. They're paying $100 million, Spider-Man's in these movies. So that I think is really cool. And then they also, what they did before they announced Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, Doctor Doom transformation, they talked about the 3 movies coming out next year. The 3 movies coming out next year, and then there are additional movies that we have not been announced yet that lead into Secret Wars. So I think that's kind of cool. Captain America: Brave New World comes out in February of next year. It's said to be kind of the establishing the Avengers movie. So this Captain America, Sam Wilson, is now going to establish his new Avengers. So that's where we're going to get like our Avengers now. And then the Thunderbolts is coming out with an asterisk, which is very interesting. Probably because they'll probably be called the Dark Avengers eventually, because that's what happens in the comics. So the Thunderbolts, they're establishing like another superhero team that's going to be involved in this MCU. And then we're going to the third movie comes out in July of 2025, Fantastic Four: First Steps. The Fantastic Four's main villain is Doctor Doom, overall. They're the main antagonist. He probably will not be the antagonist of this movie. However, we know that Fantastic Four takes place in an alternate universe, 1960s New York. It does not take place in our MCU. It takes place in like a Tomorrowland looking New York. Now we're going to get deep in the MCU. We've seen that in the 1940s, Howard Stark helps S.H.I.E.L.D. and all of them fight Hydra and the Nazis. So Howard Stark, he's trying to make a flying car. It blows up. And everyone kind of laughs at him. Your tech's not ready yet. Well, we know that in Fantastic Four, first steps, the Fantastic Four have a flying car, which means that they've successfully made technology that probably, most likely, Howard Stark didn't do. So if we're getting a Stark family that didn't get to take over the U.S. economy and become billionaires, but they had all this hatred for maybe a group that maybe took their technology, like Doctor Doom kind of always blames the Fantastic Four for taking ideas and stealing, and Reed is not that smart, he's taken a lot from me. I think you can establish your Tony Stark variant kind of easily through that, of this guy that already hates the Fantastic Four. He's there. That's kind of interesting.
Yep.
And knowing that the Fantastic Four are going to come into our universe and that Galactus is in this movie means their universe probably doesn't make it. And Tony Stark's the Tony Stark variant of Doom is going to lose his universe, come into a new one and probably be like, now I got to make them all one so I can protect them. Because Tony Stark's whole thing is a suit of armor around the world. And he's never been able to do that. And maybe if he was a little more evil, he would do it.
Yep. Wow, that lines up pretty perfectly. Yeah.
New mask, same task is what he said when he got the role, when he announced his thing on stage.
Yeah.
And that was Tony Stark's task. Yeah. I'm interested in how they do it. Marvel, in my opinion, the MCU has been kind of, as even Deadpool put it, at a bit of a low point, where I think they, very obviously with Disney Plus, were forced to make too much content. It spread them too thin, and they were not very linear in what the story they were trying to tell. They were trying to make it bigger without telling a story. This really feels like them going, we know we fucked up for a while. We're going to try to tell a story again. We've got all the creative team that made the last great story back because they want to make this story too. And I think that's cool. And I'm excited to see where we go. And if it's disappointing, it's kind of cool to think, oh, sorry, one more thing. Secret Wars, when it ends, reboots the whole universe. Your MCU is getting rebooted after this. Possibly with elements that come in from that, but it's going to get rebooted.
Okay.
So it's going to start, this version of the MCU will start and end with Robert Downey Jr. And that to me is kind of cool.
That's cool.
So I'm in. That was my long-winded MCU thing, but I'm very excited for this.
I think
Jake, I got a question for you.
Yes, please.
So it's pertaining to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay.
Do you think this is not really related to like kind of like story or where everything's are going, but more about Disney, Marvel as a franchise? Recently, would you say it's been taking like a downhill turn until Deadpool and Wolverine kind of has shifted tides, I think?
Yeah, I think so. I think you've seen like the properties that had the most like oversight because they were important to like a narrative that have it kind of excelled. I think you've seen that. Like you've seen Loki, I think, even though season 2 is kind of murky, there's been obviously like a lot more care in what's done in that series than I think what's done in a lot of the other series, like on Disney Plus. I think you're starting then, like with Deadpool and the Wolverine being their only movie this year, there was this huge focus of how do we make this very self-aware of what it is, but also really establishing something that's very important. The X-Men still exist. All your X-Men still exist. So I think like this movie accomplished a lot while also being, in my opinion, the best Deadpool movie. Like
I think it's the best Deadpool.
I think one has like a charm of being kind of like an indie movie almost, like an indie superhero movie, but this I think had a really just grandiose tone that it kind of kept nailing for me again and again and again. So yeah, I think they're back. I'm excited for this next 3 movies that are coming. I don't have a lot of faith in Captain America or the Thunderbolts. I'm more curious about them, but I wouldn't be shocked if they're like mid movies that kind of establish more stuff. But I'm really I think there's a lot of
Avengers and Russo brothers,
and I'm really excited about Fantastic Four. I think like the style that's coming with this movie is very unique.
Who's directing that?
Matt Shackman, who did all of WandaVision.
Oh, I love WandaVision. So they're gonna nail that 60s vibe.
Yeah, and I think that this is also like we're seeing Kevin Feige's back with both hands on the wheel. I think for a while he was very much pulled in many different directions, told to wear many different hats. The old Disney CEO spread him very thin. And I think we get to see him also guiding these projects in a more directed way, which I'm excited. I really think like Deadpool and the Wolverine, you could tell like Feige was involved in a lot of that movie, allowing it to be a Deadpool movie, allowing it to take shots at everybody, at Disney, at the MCU, at Fox, at DC Comics. Like very cool stuff was in that movie that I was surprised they even were allowed to say.
I think a really cool thing about that movie was the ending sort of montage sequence of all the past like Fox
saying goodbye,
all those properties and seeing the behind the scenes of like X-Men and all that.
Fantastic
I thought that was really
Fours and
cool.
stuff.
That was a really good shout out to that work.
Yep.
And how far like Ryan Reynolds has pushed Deadpool, and how it's gotten to this point. It's incredible. Like I think that we get this as like the fans. And
Yeah. That's what I was telling Maddie about
umbrella.
Deadpool and the Wolverine. Was like she loved it too, but I was like, this movie was made for a '90s kid that's watched the X-Men show that's now a 30-year-old. Like that movie was made for me to during a montage lose my mind at every single thing I was seeing. Like it was wonderful.
I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, there's like so many things. Like look who it is.
Yeah.
And like I was like, man, if Jake was here, we'd be like, fuck it.
Dude, I was such a nerd. There's a moment in the first Deadpool Wolverine fight where he does the spinning move, like he like runs at him and jumps and spins, and it's the exact move from Marvel vs. Marvel. I was so excited. First Marvel versus Capcom. It's the same spin move, and I was like in the theaters. I'm like, oh, you did the thing, and I was like the only one freaking out. I was like, okay, I got problems. I
didn't notice that. Yeah,
I was so excited. I'm excited. Give me more Marvel. Even if it's bad, it's like Star Wars. I'll enjoy the ride. Speaking of rides, man, let me ride that unicorn, James.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of dirty.
So Unicorn Overlord is a tactical RPG, and I've talked about it before with you guys, but I think this is kind of like the first time we're bringing it. I've have about 35 hours into this game. It is a Switch game. I paid $25 for it. I have a $5 coupon with GameStop. Thank you, GameStop.
That's pretty good. I like your second. What day of the week did you buy it on? Just curious.
Ooh, I think it was like a Wednesday.
Okay. It's a good day to buy games.
Because it was their last copy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in there and buy it. I'm hate playing it right now because I'm just trying to beat the game, and I hate when I get to this point in these types of games because I got to this exact same point in Final Fantasy 15 where I was just at the end, and I'm like, God, let me just beat this and let me get on with this because I loved every single point of it until the end where you have to like grind and be like so much better. The core of this game, you're a prince, and you basically your kingdom's been overtaken by one of your own generals. The kingdom is called Cornea, I believe, and you end up in some island and are kind of protected, but you're biding your time, so you're building up this what's called the Liberation Army, and you're trying to go back and basically take back your kingdom. So what ends up happening though is it's the exact same. There's like 4 kingdoms, and almost every single battle or every single person you meet has literally the exact same story. They're a bad guy. They're doing bad things to the people around there just because of this kingdom. And then when you beat them, they're like, "Oh, I was only doing this because my sister was sick."
I see the error in my ways. It's so true.
Yes, I see the errors with me. Let me join your liberation army. And then you have your guy who's like your guys who like rescued you from the kingdom, and he's like, I don't know if you should rescue these people. Don't be nice to everyone. You end up recruiting like everyone because you need everyone for your army. It's the exact same story for the past 20, 30 hours I've been playing this game. Every single person is like that. They do something bad, and if they're truly bad, they just die. But if they're not, they're like, I guess you can recruit them. And then it's like, yeah, I guess I'll recruit them because having more people is good for your battles.
Yeah.
So how this works is you have these teams of, well, you can expand them, but you start with like teams of 3, I believe.
Right.
In a 3x2 grid. So you have 2 rows of 3, and you can position them however you want, and positioning does matter. And then you can expand them as you keep battling and building up your honor and all that.
And so, I know we've touched on this offline, but battling in this game is not a classic JRPGs back and forth. It's kind of automated.
It's auto-tracked. Like, so what you do is you could deploy, and there's no grid, but there's pathing. So you can path however you want manually, which is a little bit annoying. Or it auto-paths to, like, wherever you select on the map.
Right.
And then you're just trying to take objectives. And so at these objectives, you can garrison and deploy more if you need to deploy more units. Or you just take over and you can sit there and heal, and then enemy units can come and fight you there. Right. But your goal is basically to take the enemy command post, and then that's how the stage is cleared.
Okay, and so you're just walking more or less forward.
And then
you
they
can
bump
walk,
into each
or
other.
there's flying
fly. And then you bump into an enemy squad, and that's where kind of this priority
auto battles.
Yeah, this priority-based auto battling takes place.
And it shows you a nice preview on your battle thing where it's like, when these guys connect,
whether
you're going to lose 24 out, they're going to lose 17.
Right.
Okay.
And
exactly.
Is there anything... So I'm just going to throw it back here. In Total War games, your army collides with their army, and you get 2 options. You can either fight it out or auto-resolve. auto resolve does what it says it does.
Of course.
You lose 20%, they lose 50%,
Yep.
or you battle and then move all.
You can visually see it.
Is there any reason not to auto resolve this game?
If you want to see how your unit perform, like let's say you lost and you just want to see why you lost, you could just watch the battle play out. But you lose so much time watching all of these battles play out. Like I was just watching one just for fun, because currently I'm like max unit. I have 5 units, and then I'm playing against another 5 unit, and just watching the turns and the counters and all this stuff take place. You can spend 5 minutes just watching the battle take place.
Right, and the battle, which is all happening in an automated fashion, is like your backline healer heals.
Heal,
the tank
hit, counter.
The tank buffs his defense.
And there's no reason to watch it. Because it's already predetermined in the menu beforehand. Like it tells you before the fight.
Predetermined. Yeah.
So this is where change. This is where I am completely lost on the game, where it just seems like a JRPG that auto resolves itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is like even
it's weird.
Less of a game.
So I don't know why this has, like, when I've looked it up, it's got like 8 out of 10s basically. And to me, it's possibly a 7 out of 10. Just my experience.
Dang, that's
the
like
story
a death sentence nowadays.
And everyone has the same thing. The story is very weak, but the gameplay is good. The gameplay is the exact same. It's been the exact same for 20, 30 hours. There's nothing new or innovative that they do with the gameplay, except maybe one time it'll be like, oh, there's some weather, and so you can't see the units. That's the only difference.
I was going to say, usually in tactical games, it's like, oh, these guys all have, I'm just going to make some stuff up here, but these guys all have armor-piercing arrows, so we can't use the normal tanks, so you have to reshuffle your squad.
Mm-hmm.
But it just sounds like it's the same thing.
I haven't had to reshuffle my squad. I've had to, like, change an item because there's been like one unit who does like something different. Mm-hmm. But as far as like when you face an enemy and you're like, oh, I can prepare, I'm not like shifting my units around. That just takes too much time.
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to battle and destroy dudes. I'm not trying to like play chess at the exact same time. I'm just gonna auto battle.
In my like 5 to 8 hours maybe that I played this game, I did not find the fun. I did not but like seriously, like, I enjoyed the ideas that this game put forward. Yeah. But like I think when we talked about this last time, I just kept mentioning like it really just made me want to be like, you're not Fire Emblem, and man, is Fire Emblem so much better.
What's the Fire Emblem you're recommending, Jake? By the way,
Awakening on DS is like incredible. Really recommend it. But there's other great Fire Emblems. The Fire Emblem on Switch.
What are the 2 ones on the Switch? Because I saw that there's 2.
The Switch one where you're like teaching at the school is pretty fun.
Yeah. So there's Fire Emblem. I think it's called like 3 Houses.
That's what it's called. 3 Houses.
That's the one I've seen. Yeah.
And
that's the one that's the most expensive, I think.
Yeah. So that one's very good. That one has a lot of.
And there's 3 Hopes. That's the one I've seen.
Yeah, that's like a older remake of a game, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Fire Emblem 3 Houses has a lot of like outside of the fighting that are really good because you are like a professor.
You're like
a
professor,
school
but you're also you like start dating
like
your students.
It's like a Hogwarts for generals.
Yeah.
What about Warriors or Engage? I'm sorry, I'm just looking at
Fire Emblem Warriors is a Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah.
I like Dynasty Warriors.
Dude, play the Zelda ones. They're good.
They're expensive.
I've been like trying to
buy them. I've been trying to buy them.
Fire Emblem Engage is the newest one, and I believe
them.
it's pretty par of the course. Fire Emblem. I know that it's voice acted. It's got a stronger.
So Unicorn Overlord is fully voice, or not fully, but like very much voice acted as well, and the voice acting is okay. Like, but the story is lacking.
Fire Emblem Engage, I believe, is very much kind of for the more of the story aspects presentationally with voice acting and kind of
curious.
a cutesy anime.
That came out this year?
Adjacent, last year.
Oh, okay.
January of 2023.
Thank you.
I haven't seen that one, at least in my.
But yeah, like we were talking.
I know
Fire Emblem is a fantastic game, and you're making a lot of tactical choices outside of battle and inside of battle. That's kind of why it's so much fun. And so I have not played Unicorn Overlord, but seeing people play it both on stream and in VODs, I fail to see the fun as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Outside of battle has been awful. It's the exact same formula every single continent. I go and loot random little blue spots that give wood or fish or whatever. I go to the villages that I save. I deliver it to them, and then I station a guard that goes and collects the things for me.
And that's it.
That's it. That is literally it. There's nothing else to do. There's no engaging conversations. There's no and cool side quests. Nothing.
As I've heard, there isn't any. I almost said RTS, but like there isn't any base building or unit creation. Nope. Like you were still playing a JRPG narratively speaking, or I guess functionally outside,
Functionally, yeah.
where you were kind of just rolling through areas, doing what is needed of you. It's not like, take over the world or take back this continent however you see fit, like a civilization.
Yeah.
And I'm not attached to anyone who I've recruited or anything. The story is all
right. Is there
mess.
Is there permadeath? Like if you're champion knight?
Nope.
No permanent.
Okay. Yeah.
Which Fire Emblem also adds permadeath, which makes like battles interesting.
Yeah, and like you become attached to your characters, but like if you're just gonna have, armored knight who stands in the front, and when he dies, it's like, I'll just get another one someday.
Well, no, he'll just come back next round.
Yeah, and I play it sort of like Final Fantasy, where I have so many like little potions and stuff that like my dudes are undying basically because they'll none ever die.
Yeah, I don't know. I fail to see the fun. I would love if somebody understands the fun of Unicorn Overlord. Please let me know.
Drop it in a comment.
Drop a comment. Explain where the fun is, because
I'm not much into auto battling either, but I do like the positional type of battling. Of course, one unit's gonna be better than the other. But my issue right now that I'm having, which I brought up with Jake, is that I'm so close to the end. I already have the last mission unlocked, but I am like 10 levels off with all my other units except for my main unit. My main unit is right there, but I need so many other units to support, and to get them all of them to get experience, they have to battle. And it's like if you have one unit dominating the rest, then there's nothing else for the other to feed on.
Right.
So what you have to do is do these little trials to like level up your units, and it's the same trial, and it's literally grinding. You have to do the same battle over and over again to level up your dudes.
Old Pokemon games where you cruise through the entire game with your starter fire Pokemon.
Yeah,
but it's so much more, Ted. Now I have to spend like 20-30 minutes deploying my unit, like guiding it through this little maze of archers and all these other stuff just to level up a level.
I won't be going back to this game.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this was a good $25 game. If I paid $60 for this when it came out, I would have been pissed.
Yeah, and I, again, leave your comments. I don't understand how this game got rated as highly as it did. And I don't necessarily mean that to piss anybody off specifically. I don't understand it. I don't.
There must be some tactical RPG, JRPG that's seeing something that I'm not. But honestly, the battles are all the same. There's nothing different.
And like you can set up kind of like basic logic procedures of like if your teammate is below 50% health, prioritize healing that teammate.
Of course,
and that kind of stuff is very cool. It showed up in Dragon Age Origins. It was very fun there. You didn't have to play as every character because they kind of just knew some basic, like common sense, if you will, type stuff. But that just makes it more of an auto battler.
Yeah.
Like in a game where you're already doing so little, like what is the fun in telling your...
It's a game that's meant to be really fun up front before the battle.
Yeah, and then I'm not even watching the battle because like the battle takes so long. It's like I'm not going to spend these precious 5 minutes versus when it takes like 30 to 45 minutes to play the entire like stage to beat that.
Right.
It's
so is the fun of the game...
It's a 50-hour game. I've already put 35 hours into it. It's like I'm at this point, like I'm just like gonna spend the rest of the time just so I can beat it and be like done with it. But to invest 50 hours in this type of game and there's nothing like really
James,
like
you can stop right now. You can stop right now.
I can't.
James beats games.
I'm too invested. I gotta beat this game,
and
then I'm playing my next Switch game.
Some Luigi's Mansion
What do you think?
Bullshit.
It's the NES challenge.
I'm so pissed at this game that I gotta go back to Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. You know why? Because I've been seeing Hunter play it.
Yeah.
I'm on Switch. I see him playing it every day. I'm like, you know what? I could be playing Tears of the Kingdom.
You could be playing Tears of the Kingdom right now, and that's what a beautiful way to end our show. Talking about one of the greatest video games of all time, and we're not talking about Unicorn Overlord. We're talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of Checkpoint of View. My name is Jake. That's Ted. That's James. And we'll see you next week.
You could do like some fade out music into that too. So you fade out music where we were talking, and then it just cuts into you saying, "Thank you so much."
I love it,
guys. If you like this,
I love that Jake's first, just in his head was probably the Seinfeld bass. Was that what that blooping was?
Oh yeah, of course. It's always there. Boop bop boop boop bop doo.